Good morning, everybody. I know it's not morning when you're seeing this, but it's morning while I'm recording it. Welcome back to our channel. And if you're new here, welcome to all our new subscribers. With that being said, if you didn't like and subscribe to our page, Dr. Harley, please feel free to do so. Hit the bell notification. It lets you know every time I upload a video. Today's video, we're doing a back tire on a 2014 Street Glide Special. That's beautiful. It's an amber whiskey bike. It's got the Bad Dad Competition Series stretch rear fender, the Competition Series stretch bags. It's got the lighted speaker lids, so the run, brake, and turn lights are in the speaker lids. This bike has a lot to offer. It's a beautiful bike. I'm kind of prejudiced towards it. It was one of my own bikes at one point. Now the new owner has it. He's done a lot of work to it. He's done a lot of motor work to it. Had some airbrush paint work done to it. Oh man, this thing is beautiful. I love this bike. It always holds a special place in my heart. So let me get out of this video and let me show you this bike. Alright, so we're going to unzoom this here. Take a look at that, huh? There are some Zero 3D and Custom Dynamics light works done to this thing. Those are Harley Davidson lower legs. That is a mammoth front wheel with the diamond cut spokes. Really looks good. That's a Python Razor exhaust. So I got to pull these saddlebags off to expose the rear wheel. For anybody who wants to know what I use for equipment, I use for this job, I use the from Discount Ramps. This is the Black Widow lift. It comes with a nice scissor lift here, which is important for jacking up either the front or the back to remove wheels. They actually came in handy doing an engine brace kit that I did on a Dyna. These things are worth their weight in gold. And it's always important when you do a tire, that if you have a lift table or you're thinking of getting a lift table, that where the back tire sits on the lift, there's a removable panel that'll help drop the tire up out of the way, so you're not jacking this thing all the way up in the air. So without that being said, I'm going to remove these bags and get back to you. Okay guys, just a quick couple tips. I got the bags off. I got the bike jacked up. I removed the 36mm nut for the axle on the other side. Let me show you that. There are two 3/8 bolts that hold the brake caliper on. You're going to have to take off the brake caliper. There's an E-clip that holds a nut. It's a safety clip for the 36mm nut. That's for your axle. So now that we got all that undone, we can basically at this point in time remove the axle, remove the brake caliper, but there's always a problem. When you remove the axle right from here, there's a chance it's going to hit the support for the saddlebags. So to combat that, sometimes what I do is I'll take out the shock mount bolts one on each side. That'll allow the swing arm to drop. Does it help with removal and installation of the tire doing that? Yes and no. That's completely up to you to do that or not. So here we go. We're going to get that axle out and I'll be right back. Okay, I got the axle out. I did have to take out the two upper bolts for the rear shocks, just so it could drop down far enough to clear that support bracket for the saddlebags. Now I'm going to take off the belt just by simply moving the tire forward and sliding the belt off to the side. And next I'm going to do, the brake caliper's already off. Makes it easier if you collapse the brake caliper. There's an easy way to do it, and then there's a hard way to do it, like everything else. The easy way is I get a putty knife up between the brake pad and the rotor, and I start to wiggle it, and from there it'll open up. Now, to get the tire off with the wheel assembly, I'll show you how that's done. So, with the bike supported by the scissor stand, I'm going to pull this here out. That's the center. Okay, I'm going to support it with my weight, move it to the side. Kind of simple, kind of easy, right? And then it drops right out. It's that easy. Yes, I am fortunate enough I have the right equipment to do this job. There is a spacer on the left side and the right side of the tire. This is the left side spacer, and the right side is the ABS sensor. That can be put in backwards. Be careful when you put it back together that it is, facing the right way. There's a pickup on one side, kind of gives it away. See, this is the pickup right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's easily done. So now what I got left to do is deflate the tire, break the bead, and then put it on the tire machine, which we'll do together here in a minute. Okay, we're at the tire machine. I pulled the valve stem out of the tire valve. We're going to do the bead breaker. This takes a lot of air, so what's going to happen is the compressor is going to kick on, so I'm going to pause the video at that point. So, I mean, this is not very exciting, but it's a lot easier than what a lot of people do. And you're going to do both sides of the rim, breaking the bead. Once the first part of the bead is broken, the rest of it comes off pretty easily. And for balancing the tire, we're not going to do a spin balance, even though I have that capability. What we're going to do is we're going to put in here what they call balance bead. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. Here's the compressor. Be right back. All right, the compressor kicked off. I finished doing all the bead breaking. Now we got the tire mounted up on the tire machine. I sprayed some soapy water around the bead of the old tire. It helps lubricate it coming off. This part is, with the tire machine, it's much easier. You can use the old school tire spoons. I still have them. I still use them. I generally use them with tires with tubes because it less chances of me pinching the tube. So I'm adjusting the arm to go right up on the rim and then lock it in. The machine gives you a nice large tire spoon. Go right in here. I'm going to grab that bead. and then we're going to pull it. And I'm going to use some other spoons to drop this down. Makes it easier to get it up over the rim. Just like so. And now we'll let the machine do all the work. Okay, that's one whole bead. Pick it up. We will get in here, grab the bottom part of the second bead. Pop that up over the machine. Spin it around. Let the machine do all the work. And there you go. The tire is dismounted from our rim. One of the things you want to look for is the rotation pattern. This rotation pattern is going from my right to left. So we'll get this out of our way. And we're going to take our new tire, which looks worlds better. And we got right to left. And if you notice, a lot of tires will have a yellow dot on them. Alright, you can see that right there. What that is for, that helps with getting the, you line that up with the valve stem, it helps with balancing. It's not very that crucial. I like to line them up, and again with the soapy water, it's a mixture of Dawn dish soap and water. So we're going to bring our arm back over, drop her back down, get it started, and let the machine do all the work. Okay, the first one's all set. I like to put the valve at a point where I can see it. Line up that yellow mark. I'll lubricate this bead as well. And we're going to get this thing all set, ready to go. What you don't want to do is let this bead here drop below the machine. So I take an extra tire spoon that I have, lock it in, and just bring it around. And again, getting this bead as far down as possible makes it easier for the machine and for you. And the second bead is set inside the rim. So the yellow dot did not end up exactly where I wanted it, but it's pretty close. Let's see, can I spin this tire? Very slowly, but we'll unclamp the rim. Get our tire off the machine. Sometimes it just gives you a hard time. There we go. And now we seat the bead. Notice I didn't put the valve stem in it yet because I still have to do the balance beads. So what I like to do is seat the beads. There's one. And I'll let the air out, because I'm going to break the bead on this side of the tire to do the balance bead. Now for this tire, you want to add 2.5 ounces of weight or 2.5 ounces of balance bead to the tire. It just makes life that much easier to do it. All right, so got that bead broken. Set this thing down here. I'll measure out our weight and I'll be right back. Okay, measured out our 2.5 ounces. These are the balance beads to help with balancing the tire. Let me get a rag. I want to wipe some of this soapy water down. I'm going to take my large spoon again. I'm going to pry down on the bead just so I know the balance beads will get into the tire. These are quite messy. And they will stick to the soapy water. So just tap it in. They'll tap in. I do think balance beads are the way to go over wheel weights. I know a lot of old school guys are sitting there going, what? Wheel weights are the way, and that's the only way to balance a tire that's good. Well, you know, my theory, and again, this is just my theory and my opinion, you take a brand new tire, you throw it on a spin balancer, you balance that tire out. Now my balancer from the manufacturer says it's accurate within 1 gram. That's pretty damn close. But what happens when you are now 500,000 miles down the road, got some tire wear? In theory, the balance should be good. Practicality is tire needs to be rebalanced. With balance beads, it's always correcting its balance and doing what it needs to do. Alright, so we'll reinflate the tire, and now we'll set both beads and set our tire pressure. For Harley, likes 38 psi for the front. I'm sorry, 40 for the front, 38 psi for the rear. Not 35, 38 psi for the rear. The reason behind that is they want to have a little more bite so the back end doesn't come out from underneath you. Some people do run 40 psi front and rear. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it. There you go. The second bead popped. Now we're going to set our, inflate the tire. I always go over, and then I'll get my trusty tire pressure gauge, and I set the tire pressure with that gauge. So I got my trusty gauge, put it in, and I got to take some out. I was at 41. The machine read 40. And just like that, 38 psi. The last thing you want to do is you want to check for leaks. So you're going to take your soapy water solution and spray it around the bead. What you're looking for are large bubbles. You want to spray around the valve stem. You can replace the valve stem every time you do a tire. You really don't have to unless that valve stem is looking pretty bad. This valve stem has been on this bike because I know the history of this bike for only a few years. Last time I did a tire on it, I did a valve stem. So we have no leaks anywhere on the bead. There are some older weights on the side of the tire I want to get off. So I'm just going to pop them off. tire's pretty filthy. I might just scrub it up a little bit for my customer. He's a good dude, he's a good friend of mine. Alright, so I'll bring you back when we're about ready to put the tire on the bike. Okay everybody, I'm back. Now's a good time to check all your wheel bearings. You got one here in the pulley. You're looking for a smooth roll to it. Same thing on the wheel. You also want to inspect your rubber bumper here that goes inside the wheel, the pulley and the wheel, sandwiches in between this. This is looking okay. It's not looking great because, you know, it's not brand new. A great looking one would be brand new. But they do make these in a high performance product. They're green, they're stiffer. This is the time if you wanted to do that upgrade. This would be the time to do it. When I do tires on my Road Glide, I'm definitely going to be doing one of these. Just because, you know, when you hit the throttle, there's less flex. So you insert that. You insert your pulley. So our pulley's on, the bumper's on. Now what's left is to get the tire up in here. And there are, you know, many ways to do this. The best way I found it, it's good old brute force and ignorance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the tire, make sure the pulley. Oops, like I said, these are uncut. You see them, you see it happen as it happens. With these extended fenders, they look great, but doing jobs like this, they are a pain. So again, we're going to roll this up under the fender. Argue with it. Slide our dropout shelf in. And we're going to roll the tire back while pushing in this dropout piece. And of course, it's going to argue with me right now. Because it's caught up on the body. There we go. And like I said, to look out for, it happened to me. The belt ended up on the wrong side of the pulley. So I'll be back. We're going to fix that real quick. Okay, now that we got that in its proper location, I'm going to inspect the belt. I'm going to look at it for cracks, any missing teeth. And it's looking good. If you do need to change this belt, it's a huge job because your outer and inner primary has to come off, the starter has to come off, and the swing arm needs to be removed. Then you can take the belt off, put a new belt on, and then put it all back together. It's a big job. I've done them. So I reinstalled our belt. I cleaned up our axle. These are cam-centric, which means the cam is oblong, so as you rotate the axle, it will make your belt adjustments for you. You can use grease. You can use anti-seize. A lot of people like using the grease because, man, that's, once you get this anti-seize on you, whoo, it's all over the place. So you want to coat your axle. It doesn't have to be soaked completely. You just need a real thin layer. what I put on here, I've almost done the whole axle with. And all this will do is keep this from getting corroded and seizing your axle to your bearings. Now if you do that, that ever happens to you, you're going to have a hard time taking off that wheel. Real hard time. It's been done. I don't have the equipment to do that, so I am a big fan of making sure that I always coat the axles. I'm going to line up my ABS sensor. It goes between the caliper mount and the tire. Just like that. I know you can't see it. And then I'm going to drop in our spacer. Or attempt to. It will get in there. Let me pause this and I'll get right back to you. Okay, I got the spacer lined up. I got the ABS sensor lined up properly. We're going to insert our axle. There we go. Now we're going to finish putting on some anti-seize. Again, just a thin layer. You want to wipe off all the excess because you don't need a whole lot of it there. Don't force anything. If it doesn't go in, stop. Look, see what the problem is. And then go on from there. The axle's in. Now I'm going to do the cam centric and the washer on the other side. They are keyed. And with that, to adjust it, what I do is I take an open and I get it to a snug like this. And then what I'll do is I'll just back it off just to here. That's a good belt adjustment. You want about 1/4 inch of play up and down. That's a little bit more because I know when I tighten it up, so will the belt just a little bit. So let me get my handy dandy 1/2 inch drive ratchet on our axle socket. Start snugging it down. There is a torque. I'm going to look it up in a few minutes and we'll torque it down and be good. Okay, that's a little loose, so I'm going to loosen it up again. And then I'm going to adjust it again. Belt adjustment is important. You could jump teeth, you could rip your belt apart. There's a lot of things you can do if your belt is not adjusted properly. Okay, that's good. So, And if you haven't done so, please leave me a comment. Again, this is our channel, everybody. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. And hit the bell notification. This way you'll know every time I upload a video. Again, like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, and leave me some comments down below. Wednesday, we got a new video coming out. It's on an oil change on a Dyna, a 2015 Dyna. This is a 2014 Street Glide Special. And our next video, let's see, this video will be posted on Sunday afternoon, which is just less than a week from today. I'm going to film these videos as the work comes in. And next video will probably be a discussion of how to pick your cams, or how to pick your handlebars if you want to throw on some handlebars. Do you want T-bars or not? That's for a discussion later on. So, as always, live the best life you can and ride as much as you can. Until next time, Dr. Harley signing off.